There are moments in life when you feel time slowing, as if fate pauses to mark a beginning. My arrival at Hogwarts was one of those moments. The castle loomed against the twilight sky, its towers piercing the clouds like a dream too grand to touch. It was everything I'd ever imagined and more, a world waiting to be discovered. Yet, despite my awe, I felt the weight of secrets pressing against me like a second skin. You see, I've never known who my parents were or why I could speak to snakes and whispers only I could understand. And while the whispers frightened me at first, they became a part of me, much like the flashes of visions I couldn't control or the unspoken truths I could pull from people's minds. My guardian, Professor Fig, had taught me much, but even he didn't know the depth of my powers. Some secrets, I'd learned, were best left untold. The carriage rocked gently as we ascended the winding path to Hogwarts. Through the misty windows, I caught glimpses of the castle, its spires piercing the clouds like sentinels of an ancient world. The sight stirred something deep within me, a mixture of awe and trepidation. This place was to be my new home, but it felt like stepping into a story whose ending I couldn't yet see.
The Great Hall buzzed with its usual excitement during the sorting ceremony. Another year, another batch of fresh faces, all wide-eyed and awestruck. I'd seen it all before, and yet there was something different tonight. A new fifth-year transfer. That didn't happen every day. When the sorting hat called her name, I leaned forward, curious. Eveleigh Velmont, it had announced. The name sounded foreign, mysterious. She strode up to the hat with an air that was hard to miss, equal parts confidence and unease. Intriguing. The hat placed her in Slytherin, of course. I wasn't surprised. The way she held herself, there was a sharpness to her, like a blade yet to be drawn. As she walked toward our table, her gaze swept the room, landing briefly on me. For a second, I could have sworn she saw right through me.
The sorting ceremony was both thrilling and nerve-wracking. The sorting hat's voice echoed in my mind, its tone curious and calculating.
I detect a growing sense of ambition, an eagerness for power. Perhaps you belong in Slytherin.
The cheers from the Slytherin table were welcoming, but I couldn't shake the unease that came with the hat's words. I scanned the faces of my new housemates as I walked toward them. Among them, a boy with dark hair and a mischievous grin caught my eye. Something about him felt different. That night, the common room glowed with green light, the fire crackling softly as students mingled. It was luxurious yet foreboding, a reflection of the house's reputation.
You're the new fifth year, aren't you?
I am, so they say.
Sebastian Sallow, and you are?
Eveleigh Velmont.
Velmont? That's not a name you hear every day. Where's that from?
London, mostly. Originally Norfolk.
London to Norfolk, and now Slytherin. There's got to be a story there.
Maybe. Or maybe I just have a thing for green.
Somehow I don't think that's the whole truth.
Oh? And what truth were you expecting?
Not a fifth-year transfer, that's for sure. You're already causing quite a stir. Professor Fig's protégé, aren't you?
I wouldn't say protégé, just a student.
Modest, are we? I like that. But come on, there's got to be more to it. You must be seriously talented to waltz in halfway through and keep up. Any chance you'll let me in on the secret?
Not much of a secret, really.
Is that so? Well, don't worry. I'll figure you out eventually.
The next day, in Defense Against the Dark Arts, Professor Hecate introduced us to dueling. To my surprise, she paired me with Sebastian. The room erupted into whispers, and he stepped forward with a confidence that practically dared me to back down.
Ready for a bit of a challenge, Velmont?
Depends. Are you ready to deliver one?
I'm always ready.
Good. Let's see if you can keep up then. The duel began with Sebastian launching a series of calculated spells. His movements were fluid, precise, but I countered with instincts honed by more than just practice. Each flick of my wand seemed guided by something deeper, something ancient. When I disarmed him with a perfectly timed Expelliarmus, the class erupted in whispers. Sebastian retrieved his wand, his expression a mixture of surprise and curiosity.
I'll admit, I wasn't expecting much. A new fifth year, barely settled in, and she was already going to duel me. Easy. Or so I thought. Not bad, I said, masking my surprise. But inside I was already re-evaluating everything I thought I knew about her. Her movements were fast, instinctive, like she wasn't just casting spells but channeling something ancient. When she disarmed me, my wand clattering to the floor, I stared at her in stunned silence. Not bad at all, Velmont.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Impressive, really. No one's managed to best me before.
Must have been beginner's luck.
Luck? Hardly. You've got skill, Velmont, can't deny that.
Thanks, you're pretty decent yourself.
Decent? Now that's a downgrade. Most people go with brilliant.
After class, Sebastian caught up with me in the hallway. There was a spark of intrigue in his eyes, his earlier confidence tempered by something akin to respect.
Couldn't help myself. Fancy a trip to Hogsmeade? You'll need supplies, and I know all the best spots.
Offering to play tour guide, are you?
Call it a peace offering, and maybe an excuse to satisfy my curiosity about you.
All right, Sallow, show me what you've got. Hogsmeade was alive with charm and chaos. Sebastian's enthusiasm brought the village to life, from the whimsical wares at Zonko's to the mouth-watering displays at Honeyduke's. It was easy to forget the weight of my secrets in such a place. But that sense of ease shattered when a troll stormed through the streets. The ground shook beneath its lumbering steps and panic erupted around us. Sebastian and I moved instinctively, our spells weaving together in a chaotic harmony. When the troll finally fell, I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. But my relief was short-lived as my gaze caught something only I could see, the faint glow of ancient magic lingering in the air.
I'd faced danger before, but something about the way Eveleigh fought was different. She wasn't just defending herself. It was like she was in her element. When we finally took the troll down, I couldn't help but glance at her. She looked calm. Too calm for someone who'd just survived that chaos. Whoever Eveleigh Velmont really was, I had a feeling she'd make this year at Hogwarts far more interesting than I'd anticipated. Well, that was something else.
Understatement of the year, Sallow.
Fair enough. I'd say we've earned a round of butterbeers after that. What do you think? The 3 broomsticks, my treat.
The night ended with an encounter that left my heart racing. Victor Rookwood and his lackey Harlow confronted us in the 3 broomsticks, their intentions as dark as the shadows they cast. But the presence of Sebastian, Sirona, and the other pub patrons drove them away before anything escalated. The encounter with Victor Rookwood and Harlow at the 3 broomsticks only deepened my unease. Their veiled threats lingered in my mind as we returned to the castle. But even in the shadow of danger, one thing was clear. Sebastian and I had formed an unspoken bond. Whether through duels or danger, our paths seemed intertwined, and I couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning.
Rookwood and Harlow were trouble, plain and simple. Seeing them confront Eveleigh in the middle of the 3 broomsticks stirred something in me. Protectiveness, maybe. Or perhaps just the fire of knowing I wouldn't let them have the upper hand. They didn't scare me, though their presence was a clear reminder that dark forces were circling closer. But more than that, the way Eveleigh held her ground despite the tension, it was impressive. She wasn't like anyone I'd ever met. That unspoken bond she felt, I felt it too. In a world full of uncertainty, I was certain of one thing. I wasn't going to let anything happen to her. And somehow, I knew this was just the start of something bigger than either of us.